Wouldn't a fly swatter be easier?
Man who catch fly with chopstick accomplish anything.
Remember when the whole world believed that waxing cars, painting fences, and sanding wooden decks could turn an ordinary kid into a karate master? It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly what made The Karate Kid one of the most iconic films of the 1980s. Released in 1984, the movie quickly won over audiences with the story of Daniel LaRusso, a teenager who moves to California's San Fernando Valley and unexpectedly meets an extraordinary mentor, Mr. Miyagi. Beyond its exciting martial arts action, the film delivered timeless lessons about perseverance, humility, and the determination to overcome adversity. Made on a modest budget of just $8 million, The Karate Kid went on to earn more than $131 million worldwide, turning Ralph Macchio into a teen idol for an entire generation. But behind that incredible success were plenty of surprising stories. The lead actor had almost no martial arts experience. Several casting decisions sparked controversy, and many behind-the-scenes moments were even more fascinating than what audiences saw on screen. Today, we're counting down 12 weird and fascinating facts about The Karate Kid. But before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who's still tempted to try the crane kick after watching the movie. And now, let's begin. Number 12. The famous crane kick took more than 30 takes to get right. The final moment of the movie, when Daniel balances on one leg and delivers the winning kick in the tournament, became one of the most iconic images of 1980s cinema. But to capture that scene, the filmmakers had to shoot it more than 30 times. Director John Avildsen wanted the camera angle to be very low, the frame to be very wide, and the timing of the kick to be absolutely perfect. They tried one camera angle after another until they captured the scene that all of us remember. Just think about what Daniel was going through at that moment. He was exhausted. His injured knee could barely support him after the illegal strike. Daniel limped forward and the entire crowd had risen to its feet. Mr. Miyagi quietly whispered one final piece of advice, and Daniel decided to perform the most difficult move he had ever learned, balancing on the very leg that had been injured. Johnny charged in, Daniel delivered the kick, it landed perfectly, and the tournament was over. Ralph Macchio deserves praise for performing that crane kick, but William Zabka deserves just as much credit for making the impact look completely believable. Both actors gave everything they had, and that is why this scene has remained just as powerful for more than 4 decades. Number 11. The screenwriter was once beaten by a gang at the 1964 World's Fair. The Karate Kid did not begin in a Hollywood story meeting. The movie grew out of a real-life event and a brutal beating that changed screenwriter Robert Mark Kamen's life in 1964. While attending the New York World's Fair, he was attacked by a group of men. Badly injured after the assault, Kamen promised himself that he would never let something like that happen again. That was when he decided to study martial arts. His first instructor taught him a direct fighting style focused on offense and violence. It could feed thoughts of revenge, but it did not bring peace. Later, Kamen began studying Okinawan Goju Ryu, a defensive martial art that uses an opponent's own strength and aggression against them. Sound familiar? That is the very philosophy Mr. Miyagi teaches in the movie. Columbia chose Kamen to write the screenplay because he had lived through those experiences in real life. He was not a screenwriter who simply studied books and imagined the story. Maybe that is why The Karate Kid never feels preachy or like it is trying to lecture anyone. Kamen was not trying to teach people about peace. He was simply telling the story of lessons that took him many years to truly understand. And in the end, the greatest revenge turned out to be one crane kick in a movie that earned more than $130 million worldwide. Number 10. The major plot hole that only the novel explains. Here is a detail that may have made you wonder without even realizing it. Why is Daniel's mother working at a restaurant? At the beginning of the movie, the reason Lucille LaRusso takes her teenage son from New Jersey to the other side of the country is a job at Rocket Computers. That is how the story begins. That is why Daniel's life, as Will Smith would say, got turned upside down. But then the movie never mentions it again. Suddenly, his mother is waiting tables. Daniel keeps getting bullied by a group of wealthy kids, and no one ever explains what happened to the job at the computer company. There is an answer, but you have to read the novelization to find it. According to the book, Rocket Computers went out of business before Lucille could even start work. She moved her entire life for a job that disappeared before her first day. It is a pretty harsh detail, but it also makes the story feel more believable. The LaRusso family were not just newcomers trying to adjust to a different place. They were truly left with nowhere to turn, no safety net, no backup plan. They ended up living in a rundown apartment complex because it was the only place they could afford. Once you understand that, both Daniel's desperation and his mother's struggles make perfect sense. They were not just adjusting to a new city, they were trying to recover from a major setback in their lives. More or less. Number 9, You're the Best was originally written for Rocky III. The song that plays during the tournament montage, the one that has stayed in the memories of so many fans, was not actually written for the Karate Kid. It was originally written for Rocky III. John Esposito wrote You're the Best for Sylvester Stallone's movie, but Stallone turned it down and chose Eye of the Tiger instead. And honestly, between the two songs, I still prefer that choice. Even so, You're the Best did not disappear. The song was set aside until the Karate Kid needed music for its tournament montage. The filmmakers used it to accompany Daniel San's journey as he won match after match, and in doing so, they accidentally created one of the most iconic songs of the 1980s. The funny thing is that the lyrics do not really match Daniel's story. History repeats itself. Meanwhile, Daniel is just a skinny kid who has only been learning karate for 3 months. But nobody cared because the song was simply that good. Esposito later admitted that he was grateful Stallone had turned the song down. Eye of the Tiger won a Grammy, while You're the Best found a movie whose optimistic and energetic spirit was a perfect fit. A song that Rocky III rejected eventually became Daniel's victory anthem. Number 8. The Karate Kid became a blockbuster franchise. The success of the first movie launched a franchise that has continued to grow for more than 4 decades. Part 2 took Daniel and Miyagi to Okinawa in 1986, and Part 3 continued the story with Terry Silver's revenge plan in 1989.
Say it, Cobra Kai.
Never dies.
The next Karate Kid was released in 1994 and introduced Hilary Swank. Then the 2010 remake moved the entire story to China with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. At the time, most fans believed that movie existed in a completely separate universe. Then Cobra Kai arrived. Premiering in 2018, the series picked up the story 34 years after the original movie, following a struggling Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso, now a successful businessman, as they reignited their rivalry through competing karate dojos.
Jersey, he and we got into it a little bit. This guy really had it in for me.
Yeah, well, you did move in on my girl.
Cobra Kai was originally released by YouTube, but Netflix was the platform that turned it into a global phenomenon. The series ran for 6 seasons before ending in February 2025. But Cobra Kai did more than continue the original story. It gave audiences a completely new perspective. Was Daniel really the hero? Or was Johnny the one who deserved our sympathy? Suddenly, what once seemed like a simple story about an underdog had far more layers than most people had ever imagined. Then Karate Kid. Legends was released in May 2025, officially connecting the 2010 remake to the original movie timeline by bringing Ralph Macchio's Daniel together with Jackie Chan's Mr. Han. It is hard to believe that a small movie released in 1984 about a boy from New Jersey has grown into a franchise that spans generations, with more than 4 decades of history, 6 movies, and a 6-season television series. Wax on, wax off. More than 41 years have passed, but the journey of the Karate Kid is still going strong. Number 7. Pat Morita personally designed the bonsai tree emblem on Daniel's Karate GI. The bonsai tree patch on Daniel's Karate Gi, the symbol that later became the trademark of Miyagi-Do and appeared on countless pieces of merchandise. Pat Morita designed it himself.
Hey, if you ever want this patch back, I'll understand.
I know you understand.
He sketched the emblem, handed it to the costume department, and said, "This is what Miyagi would want." And he was right. The character spends nearly half the movie caring for small bonsai trees. So it makes perfect sense that he would also care about the emblem on the Karate Gi. That small detail is also connected to one of the most meaningful scenes in the movie. Miyagi gives Daniel a bonsai tree and tells him about roots and how every person must choose their own path. Later, Daniel walks into the tournament wearing that very emblem on his karate gi. Most actors simply wear whatever the costume department gives them. But Pat Morita created a design that has continued to appear on t-shirts and souvenirs for more than 40 years. All right, now let's get back to the countdown with number 6. Elizabeth Shue was cast partly because of a Burger King commercial. Before Elizabeth Shue became Ali, she was just a college student paying her tuition the most familiar way, by appearing in television commercials.
Stop what you're doing and go to your phone. I want to make a bet with you. You see, in a coast-to-coast survey, 3 out of 4 people said they liked their burger 6 their way.
If they needed a blonde girl with a wholesome image, Elizabeth Shue was always a great choice. It was her Burger King commercial from the Battle of the Burgers campaign that caught director John Avildsen's attention. He also considered Helen Hunt and Demi Moore for the role of Ali, but Shue had the approachable, wholesome charm of the girl next door, exactly what the movie was looking for. And clearly, she was very convincing at promoting the Whopper. After landing the role, Shue enrolled at Harvard University. However, she decided to leave with just 1 semester remaining to pursue an acting career full-time. It was not until 2000, about 15 years later, that she returned and completed her college degree. One Whopper commercial opened the door to a career that would eventually earn an Oscar nomination. It was probably the right decision. Number 5. You can still visit Daniel's apartment complex today. The Karate Kid was not filmed on a Hollywood backlot made to look like California. Director John Avildsen took the cast and crew to real locations throughout the San Fernando Valley. Daniel's apartment complex? It is the South Seas Apartments on Satakoy Street in Reseda. The complex is still there. It is still called South Seas, and fans continue to visit it to take photos. The beach where Daniel meets Ali is Leo Carrillo State Beach in Malibu. The school scene in the movie is a real middle school in Woodland Hills. The All-Valley tournament was filmed inside the Matadome at California State University, Northridge. The only exception was Mr. Miyagi's house, the peaceful backyard with its bonsai trees and koi pond. It was all built for the movie. The Japanese garden, the junkyard, and even the railroad tracks were all constructed around an existing house. By the time The Karate Kid Part 3 went into production, the property had been demolished, so the filmmakers had to rebuild the entire set on an indoor soundstage. Number 4. Ralph Macchio still owns the trophy in the car. Ralph Macchio has never let go of his Karate Kid keepsakes. Decades later, he still owns the All-Valley Championship trophy. The actual prop Daniel held high in the famous freeze frame at the end of the movie. And according to Macchio, it is still somewhere in his house. But that is not all. He also kept the yellow 1948 Ford Super Deluxe, the car from the famous wax on, wax off scene that convinced an entire generation that waxing a car was a way to learn martial arts. After filming wrapped on The Karate Kid Part 3, Columbia Pictures had the car delivered to Macchio's home, and he did not have to pay a single dollar for it. There is one more fun detail. Macchio named his son Daniel. The man forever associated with Daniel LaRusso looked at his newborn son and said, "You know what? Daniel." Fortunately, his daughter was named Julia, so at least not everyone in the family ended up with names from the movie. Some actors try to distance themselves from the role that made them famous. Ralph Macchio kept the car, kept the trophy, and even named his son after the character who changed his life. Number 3. The parking lot scene took 3 years to reach the screen. The ending that all of us remember. Daniel wins. The crowd erupts. The image freezes. The end credits begin. But that was not the original plan. The script kept going. In fact, after Daniel's victory, the story was supposed to follow the characters into the parking lot, where Kreese completely loses control.
Mercy is for the weak. We do not train to be merciful here.
He yells at Johnny, breaks his trophy in half, and then starts choking him. Mr. Miyagi steps in and humiliates Kreese without throwing a single punch. After that, the Cobra Kai students place their belts on the ground one by one in front of the teacher who has completely fallen apart. The scene was written, rehearsed, and ready to film, But at the last minute, the producers decided to cut it. Audiences at the test screenings were already emotionally exhausted after the championship match. Extending the story with another 5 minutes of confrontation weakened the feeling of victory. The studio wanted audiences to leave the theater feeling triumphant, not thinking about a fight in the parking lot. The scene was shelved for 3 years until The Karate Kid Part 2 needed an opening sequence. In the end, it finally made it onto the screen, and surprisingly, it worked even better as the opening of the sequel. It also served as a reminder that winning a tournament cannot solve every problem. Number 2. Sean Penn and Charlie Sheen were both originally considered for the role of Daniel. Before Ralph Macchio became Daniel LaRusso, the role had been considered for a long list of young Hollywood stars: Sean Penn, Charlie Sheen, Robert Downey Jr., Tom Cruise, Nicolas Cage, and Emilio Estevez. Looking at that list is like traveling back to the 1980s. Charlie Sheen has said that he was actually offered the role. According to the Netflix documentary, director John Avildsen wanted to cast him, but Sheen's father advised his son to honor his earlier commitment to go to Hungary and film Grizzly 2. And so he chose a movie about a killer bear instead of the crane kick. Sean Penn was also among the actors being considered, but he reportedly turned the role down. At the time, he had just attracted attention with Fast Times at Ridgemont High and wanted to focus on more serious dramatic roles. Even so, it is hard to imagine anyone else as Daniel today. Sean Penn probably would have brought a stronger and edgier version of the character, but also one that was darker and less relatable. Macchio, on the other hand, brought a sense of vulnerability and authenticity that made audiences always want to be on the young boy's side. Sean Penn later won 2 Academy Awards. Ralph Macchio, meanwhile, became the face of a character that audiences have continued to love for more than 4 decades. In the end, perhaps both of them found the path that was meant for them. Number 1. The Karate Kid did not know any karate. Now here is the most interesting fact about the star of The Karate Kid. When Ralph Macchio arrived on the set in 1984, he did not even know how to throw a proper punch. When he was about 10 years old, he had taken just a few jiu-jitsu classes before quitting. Other than that, he had absolutely no martial arts background. Screenwriter Robert Mark Kamen later described Macchio as a skinny kid, like a stick, and someone who almost completely lacked the coordination needed to practice karate. But what he did have was tap dancing. Macchio started taking tap lessons at the age of 3, and that background gave him the coordination and discipline needed to learn complex choreography, even though he had never thrown a proper kick before. From there, martial arts choreographer Pat E. Johnson trained Macchio for several months before filming began, using the Okinawan Goju-Ryu style, the same defensive martial art practiced by Mr. Miyagi. Johnson's training was extremely detailed. He taught Macchio only what was needed for each scene, rehearsed every movement over and over until it looked completely convincing, and then filmed it while the muscle memory was still fresh. Meanwhile, the Cobra Kai actors were trained in more aggressive fighting styles so the confrontations on screen would feel more authentic. As a result, the fights that thrilled audiences were actually the product of meticulous choreography that transformed a tap dancer into a karate champion. For many years afterward, Macchio often joked that fans always assumed he was a real martial artist. Many people came to him asking for advice from a black belt, and all he could do was smile and explain that Daniel LaRusso's skills did not automatically transfer to the actor who played him. But Macchio did not remain a beginner forever. Over more than 4 decades, through the sequels and all 6 seasons of Cobra Kai, he continued training. What began as memorized movements for filming gradually became real skills. Then, in April 2025, it was finally recognized when Ralph Macchio earned his first karate black belt. Just 1 month later, at the premiere of Karate Kid Legends, the World Karate Federation also presented honorary black belts to Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan in recognition of their contributions to martial arts culture. The actor who inspired millions of children to sign up for karate, while knowing almost nothing about the martial art himself, finally earned a black belt for real. 41 years after the crane kick, the Karate Kid finally knew karate. So that was our look at 12 weird facts about the Karate Kid, 1984. Which fact surprised you the most? Or do you know another interesting fact about the movie that we did not mention? share it in the comments below. If you enjoy behind-the-scenes videos and weird facts about classic movies, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next videos. Thank you for spending your time with us and watching all the way to the end. We will see you in the next adventure.